Team player versus getting taken advantage of. How do you know when you should be a team player, when you should pitch in at work, when you should help out, versus when you're getting taken advantage of, when you're getting played, when your employer is using you in a way that won't benefit you or your self-worth and self-value? And today I'm going to talk about answering this question, and it actually came up from one of my mentees. She sent me a message and asked me this very question: how do I recognize when I can step up for my team and be a team player and help the organization out versus getting taken advantage of and feeling like they're using me for my skills and talents and expertise, but they're not paying me at the level that I should be paid at. I think this is a really common question and one that I get asked a lot, and I thought that this would be the perfect topic to dive. So I'm Ashley. I'm the lead mentor with Mentor Me, and today we're going to talk about being a team player versus getting taken advantage of. And, I often talk about the fact that, when women in particular talk about their skill sets at work, when women are asked, what are you good at? What skills do you have? Women often say that I'm a team player, right? Like that's something that women are often proud of at work. They know that they pitch in. They know that they help out. They know that they have lots of skills and talent and expertise, and they're often very giving, right, of that skill and talent and that expertise at work. And they often wonder, this is a skill and I feel like it's valuable, but how do I articulate it at a higher level? And that's actually something that I help a lot of my mentees with. How do I get away from this? I'm a team player, I'm a hard worker, and really speak to the value of their expertise in a meaningful way, because, not being able to articulate your value often translates into you getting underpaid and you getting played at work. You not getting the visibility, you not getting the higher level roles, the higher paying roles. And so we do want to work on our ability to articulate our value and articulate, the expertise that we have so that we can be paid appropriately and have the kind of visibility that we desire. But sometimes before we even work on skill articulation and articulating the value of our expertise, we need to really evaluate, is this a time when I should be a team player? Is this a time when I should pitch in? Is this a time when I do really need to, step up for my organization and showcase my value? Or am I constantly getting played by my organization? Am I constantly being asked to do more with less? Am I constantly being asked, to put in more, to chip in more, to do more, and I'm not really being valued as an expert? And so here are some considerations, right, that you should be thinking through if you're struggling with, should I be a team player? Should I pitch in? Or, am I getting taken advantage of? So number one is you really want to evaluate, is this a one-time ask with a beginning date and an end date? Or is this a constant thing where you're constantly being asked to do somebody else's job or fill somebody else's role, or, and there, this is ongoing and it never has an end date, right? So this is something that you want to kind of evaluate. I think that, I've often been in situations at work where, a colleague left a job, or, one of my staff members found a new opportunity and left, or, some system or process is down for 3 months or for a semester, and, we have to figure out a workaround, right? And this is a time when I think it's valuable to be a team player. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be compensated for that team playerness. You can do they can do a one-time salary increase. If it's outside of the scope of your core responsibilities, they can do a salary bump for that. But I do think that that's a good time to be a team player, right? That's a good time to be engaging other stakeholders. That's the time to help out in the organization. If, you being a team player has a beginning date and an end date, if you being a team player, is a skill set that you have and you want to practice it or flex that muscle in the organization. For example, if you have a skill around training and developing new staff, and there's a position in your organization, or someone who typically does that's currently vacant, and they're asking you to step up and train and onboard new staff members, I think you can be a team player, right? You can help out with the next 2 staff members that are getting onboarded, and you can write the standard operating procedures out, and you can onboard those staff members and help them understand how to be successful in their first 90 days, and how to get the job done, and how to partner with your key stakeholders. That's work that you can do, right? That allows you to be able to position yourself as an expert, to position yourself as a trainer and a teacher and a coach, to showcase, your process-oriented mindset, and how you get people from, being a new employee and not knowing anything to being an employee that's successful and thriving in the organization. I think that is a time when you can truly be a team player, and you can help the organization out, and you can do meaningful work, right? But we want to make sure that that's a one-time, beginning and end date, focus work. If you are constantly being asked to onboard and train new team members, and that's not a part of your job description, that's not a core part of your core responsibilities, that's not a part of what you are supposed to be doing day in and day out, that's a red flag, right? That may be you getting taken advantage of. That may be them seeing a skill set that you have, and them asking you to extend that skill set without appropriate compensation, without appropriate visibility, without appropriate job title, right? And so we want to be able to distinguish that. And one of the ways to distinguish it is a certain time and place, right? If they're asking you for the next 3 months to help onboard new staff members because they have a new job posted, and you don't want that job, you don't want to do that full time, but you're willing to help out for 90 days, then you can ask for, a temporary salary increase for the next 90 days to take on part of that work. And then when they hire the new person, that salary increase will go away, and then that job responsibility will be somebody else's job, right? But you can ask that. That's being a team player. But you being the full-time training and developing staff member, plus doing your current job and not getting compensated for it, that is getting taken advantage of. And that's what you want to avoid, right? And I think that, sometimes, like I said, organizations will see our value. They'll see our expertise. They'll see the good work that we do. And maybe they posted a position that's aligned with your skill set at that next level, but maybe you suffering from imposter syndrome, or not being sure if you want to stay with the organization, or maybe seeing something toxic over in another part of the organization. So you haven't really committed to applying for that higher level job. And that's something that I really want you to interrogate within yourself, right? If there's a higher level role within your organization, if there's a higher level opportunity, then I want you not to stay in your current role and get played by the organization and be doing all of this work and not really, elevating your career, but to apply to the higher level role so that you can make more money and have more impact, right? And if that if that level of the organization is toxic and there's problems there, you can evaluate some of that. You can assess some of that out in the application and in the interview process. But what I want you to avoid is not applying, not considering it because of rumors you've heard or things that you may be seeing on the periphery that you're afraid of. I invite you to apply to that higher level role, to position yourself. They're already seeing your expertise. They're already asking you to be a team player and help out. I invite you to consider that as checking the box that you would be a good fit at a higher level and apply for that higher level role. Because again, I think sometimes we will talk ourselves out of a higher level opportunity. We will see something in the organization and say, oh, well, I don't really like that, so I'm not going to apply. When we know that the job market and the labor market is changing all the time. There are shifts and different people coming in and out of the organization. And just because you don't like Kanisha, who works in that department, doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply for a position in that department, because Kanisha might up and leave tomorrow, and your whole career path should not be based on whether or not Kanisha works in a department or not, right? So we really want to be thoughtful to not talk ourselves out of a higher level opportunity, to not talk ourselves out of a new position or a higher level pay just because of someone else who's working in the organization. And we also don't want to get into this mentality of I'm a team player, I'm a hard worker, therefore I should not be appropriately compensated at the level that I truly desire, right? You can be a team player and you can be paid well, right? Both are available to you. And I think sometimes we get in a situation where, because we want to be a team player, because we want to be seen as someone who's willing to, do hard work and help out and cares about the larger mission and vision and values of the organization, that we take on this Mother Teresa approach to our career development, and we aren't committed to asking for the kinds of salary and the kinds of compensation compensation and the kind of benefits that we really desire, right? And this is particularly true of women. This is particularly true of Black women. Our labor is often undervalued. And then we're asked to, be a team player and mentor and train and coach everybody and help everybody, but we're not being compensated for that. That's not a part of our job title. That's not a part of our job responsibilities. And so I really want to invite us to interrogate that mentality, to interrogate that expectation, and to absolutely not get played by these organizations, not get played by these corporations, not get played by these institutions. It is okay for you to ask for what you want, for you to ask for the salary that you desire, for you to be both a team player and be appropriately compensated for the value of your expertise. And I'll share with you that some of the places where I see this most often crop up, this mistreatment by organizations, is around training and development of new staff, right? So you have your job, you've been there for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're a rock star, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and then they're bringing on, maybe the organization is growing and it's changing and it's developing, and they're bringing on new staff, and all of a sudden they need someone to train and onboard and develop these new staff, and they're asking you to do that, right? Because you've been there for however long, and you're doing a great job, and you're great at your job, and they figure, okay, well, you're great at your job, you can train and develop the new people to come on into this organization, right? And again, like, if you have that skill set, if you are not only good at your job, but you're also good at training and developing new hires, then great. Like that may be a great opportunity for you. But we want to make sure that you are actually, one, have that skill set, number two, that that's something you desire to do, and number three, that you're appropriately compensated for that, right? Because training and development is a whole job. That's a whole functional area, right? That's a whole area of an organization. And if you're taking on those responsibilities, then you should absolutely be adequately paid for that. And this is not something where it's just duties as, other duties as assigned. Every job post in the world has, other duties as assigned. as a part of their job post. And yeah, I mean, of course, that's where being a team player falls in, picking up, an extra, set of responsibilities for a limited time, or, helping, train and onboard in a vacancy, or, taking on a special project that a senior leader needs someone to do, right? Like that, there's a time and a place for that, but it should be limited. It should have a beginning and an end date. And even with those, team player additional responsibilities, it is absolutely appropriate for you to be appropriately compensated for that as well. And so those are some things I just want to make you aware of. And I think that often, especially women, especially Black women, our labor is often undervalued by us and by the employer. And so we absolutely have to disrupt that expectation, or that downplaying in the marketplace, so that we can adequately be paid for our value. And if you are concerned about whether or not you're being adequately paid for your value, if you already know, Ashley, I'm absolutely not making the kind of money that I know I deserve and desire, then I want to share with you that I'm accepting new mentees. And if you know you need expert level support to really move from where you are to where you want to be in your career, if you feel like you're being taken advantage of by your organization, if you worry that you're getting played by your organization, if you feel like you're constantly getting asked to do other things outside of the scope of your work, and you're getting frustrated and burned out and annoyed by that, that would be a good time for us to hop on a phone call and talk about that, so that we can kind of figure out what's going on there and develop a plan of action to help you advance your career. And so again, I am accepting new mentees right now. You can hop in my DMs if you feel like you need support with this. If you are regularly struggling with, am I being a team player or am I getting played, right? Like, am I getting played by my organization? Am I constantly being asked to do more with less? Am I constantly being asked to, help out here and there? And then, I see other people being promoted and getting raises when they, do good work, but I'm doing good work and I'm not getting any of that. If you're constantly seeing that, if that's constantly a source of frustration or anger or angst for you, this is a good sign that we should hop on a call. This is a good sign that we should work through some of those challenges together, because we really need to get out of this place where we're getting played by our employer, and actually be a team player in a way that adds value to us as an employee, adds value to the organization, and make sure that we don't diminish, right, our expertise. If this was helpful to you, if it was supportive to you, definitely hop in the DMs, let me know. If you want to be a part of my May cohort and you're looking to secure at least a $30,000 salary increase over the next 3 months, you can also hop in my DMs. Just let me know that you want to learn more about working with me. You want to learn more about having me as a mentor. You want to learn more about my mentorship programs, and we can chat about that in the DMs. I so look forward to serving you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.